Hey, everybody. It is great to do this live broadcast. Warriors Quest is going to be fun tonight. Put your seatbelts on. It's going to be a lot of fun. So please, I am so excited to bring on just a great guest. You guys, Cyrelle George has been just someone I've admired for a very long time now. And I've got the greatest honor of having her as a guest tonight. So I'm super excited to bring on Cyrelle George to Warriors Quest tonight. So it's going to be a fun ride. Let's bring on Cyrelle George and let's talk to Cyrelle George tonight, people.
Woohoo!
Hi, Cyrelle.
Hi, Jared.
It's
How are
it's.
you?
I'm great. I'm great. Honestly, it's good to talk to you. Obviously, you know we interact because I've been advocating for you, my brother and I. So it's good to meet up with
Yes.
you.
I'm so appreciative of what you and your brother Jeffrey are doing to help get my story out and just what you're doing in the kidney community. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. It's an absolute pleasure.
Yes.
So it's we've got we've got a connection that way, and it's been fun seeing your page, kind of evolve and kind of
Right.
take a life of its own. You
Right.
know, and my brother and I have a little fun with some of the videos and the posts that we do, but
Right.
but
Yeah.
you know, you're in Atlanta, Georgia, is that right?
Well, I'm in Georgia, but I'm in a rural part now. I'm in Covington, Georgia. I'm about 30
All
minutes
right.
outside of Atlanta.
I feel you because I'm from Hooper, Utah, but people don't know that. So when people ask, I say Salt Lake City, Utah. So
Right.
I get that.
Right.
Yeah,
Kind of, because I'd be like,
yeah.
Covington. They're like, oh, okay. So, yes.
I feel you. Sure. And I live in a rural area too, so you can
Okay.
see cows, horses, all
Yeah.
sorts of stuff. So
Yeah.
I get it. So now I'm familiar with your story, but
Right.
can you tell some of our viewers a little bit about your story and how Cyril George?
Absolutely.
All right.
Um, well, 2 years ago, April, I went for a standard physical, like we all should do. Every year you get your yearly exam. And I went expecting nothing. I was experiencing shortness of breath and I lost weight, but I thought it was my thyroid. So I went for my physical. And 2 days later, my doctor called me and was like, meet me at the emergency room. You're in kidney failure. Didn't see that coming, didn't expect it. Um, and when I got to the emergency room, Jared, my blood pressure was 220 over 125 and
Wow.
my kidney function was down to 6%, and I needed immediate blood transfusions because I didn't realize once your kidney stopped working, you stopped producing red blood cells. Well, at least I did.
Uh-huh.
I no longer was producing red blood cells, so I needed
Okay.
two emergency blood transfusions.
Wow. Just
Yes.
like that.
Just like that.
Oh, wow.
And can I tell you, when I got the call, I was at lunch celebrating my cousin's birthday, just having a great old
No,
time, just
no.
downtown, living life. I didn't feel bad. Only thing is, I had shortness of breath and I lost weight, but I was out eating, enjoying life. So when I got that
Uh-huh.
call, I was in complete disbelief.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is crazy. I've not heard of a story like that before. So
Yeah.
you were out and about. It's not like
Yes.
had this overwhelming like flu-like symptom or
No.
something.
No. And that's why, when we talk about this in a community, I say all the time, please go get your kidney functions tested because you may not
Yeah.
always have symptoms. It's called the silent killer, unfortunately. And I can say personally, if I had not gone for a physical, I would have never known something was going on with my kidneys because I wasn't feeling bad. I wasn't the traditional symptoms. I just went for my physical and my doctor was like, hey, red alert, something is wrong.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yes.
So
Mm-hmm.
with when you were at this, when you were eating lunch and what have you,
Yes.
whom were you eating lunch with? I mean, what did you tell the people you were
Right.
dining with?
Right. So it was my cousin's Adrian's birthday. We were actually downtown eating bread, cheese, and having a Mai Tai, right? No, a mojito.
Oh,
Terrible.
wow. Okay. Yeah.
Terrible, right? And we're celebrating her birthday, and I get the call, and I look at her, and to know me, I have a playful side, but I can be very sarcastic. So I turned to her and was like, my kidneys are failing. I need to go to the emergency room. And she just stopped and was like, are you kidding? I
All
was like,
right.
no,
Okay.
I think I'm serious. And she's like, well, but here's the crazy part. She was like, well, let's go now. I was like, no, we're not going to waste all this good food. We're going to finish eating. Then we're going to go.
You finished the food?
I figured I needed to finish the bread and the cheese and the mojito because I wasn't going to be able to have
Well,
one.
yeah. I mean, that makes sense, right?
So, yes, I don't do this though, but I waited another 40 minutes before I went because I need to finish my meal.
All right. Okay.
Yes. But I've been
Well, I mean,
responsible ever since.
but this actually does make a kind of an impact on what you're saying. Is that
Right.
it sincerely can be a silent killer.
It
You
can.
know,
It can.
right? I mean, with what was going on, I mean, this didn't seem like you were having some sort of typical symptoms or
No.
signals. And
And
so,
I
wow.
wasn't. And here's the thing, you have to be mindful to know what the symptoms are, because even when I went for my physical and I was telling my doctor what I was displaying,
Uh-huh.
they were like, oh, it could be allergies. They told me I probably had asthma. You see what I'm saying? It was never
Okay.
anything that pointed to kidney disease. So not only was
Yeah.
I not aware, but my doctors were not 100% certain that it could have been something wrong with my kidneys. That's why, we
Good.
talk about being,
Wow. Yeah. So they're not at that point exactly sure either.
no, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Yes,
So it's a silent killer, like in multiple sort of ways. That's an
yes,
interesting viewpoint.
it is.
Wow.
So please go get
Yeah.
your kidney function tested, please.
Everybody. Yes.
Yes.
Everybody needs to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Now you've got the connection to the transplant hospital, but it's in Atlanta, right?
Yes, I am
Okay.
registered on the obviously the kidney transplant list here in Atlanta, Georgia. Emory University Hospital, downtown Decatur on Clifton Road, and you can register to see if you could be my donor at donor.emeryscreen.org. And even though on Facebook I'm Cyrelle George, but I still have my ex-husband's last name. But I'm registered under Cyrelle Willis. My
Okay, that's
blood
good.
type is right, Cyrelle Willis. My blood type is
Uh-huh.
O positive, and my date of birth is 3176. And I do believe that Emory participates in the pair exchange. So
Uh-huh.
I do ask for people to just go and register as a living donor, not you know just for myself, but because there's countless others. Even though I'm asking for me, I want to make sure somebody else gets their miracle as well.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. And I've heard really good things about Emory.
yeah.
I think even isn't Telja that you were
Yes,
interviewing last night? She's at Emory, right?
she's at Emory. She drives almost 2.5 hours to come up here to make sure she is still active on the transplant list.
Yeah, Emory's a good hospital. I hear really good things. There's
It is.
Kristen McCall just recently who had a
Mm-hmm.
transplant
Yep.
surgery. She was connected there as well. So I think that's I've heard good things, and it sounds like you're pretty happy with that hospital right now
I
too, right?
I am. I'm very thankful because when everything happened, I wasn't working for anyone. I was working for myself. So as an entrepreneur, I didn't have medical coverage. That's probably the scariest part of this journey. When I was diagnosed, I didn't have medical coverage, but my church at the time had a hospital and clinic, so I was able to get treatment there. But
Okay.
Emory did everything necessary to make sure I got medical coverage, and I was set to be in place to get on the transplant list. So I'm very thankful for the transplant team and the nephrologist at Emory Hospital, Clifton Road, downtown Decatur.
Nice.
Nice
Very
plug,
nice.
right? Nice
That
plug.
is a good plug. Yeah. So, and it's good to have those local ties. It's so one of the things that Jeff and I have been trying to do is try to get connections with some local places so that we can have a stronger local connection. So that's good to
Right.
hear. Now you talked about the church and you gave a really good plug, which is awesome. But can you help me understand how your faith has helped you stronger in your journey?
Absolutely. One, I 100% believe that Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. I believe that 100%. And it's because of my faith, it helps me to stay optimistic and encouraged, because on this journey, it's so unexpected, Jared. Some days I just don't know. And if I didn't have faith in God, I probably wouldn't be thriving as well as I am. And, it gives me a positive outlook. It allows me to keep having hope, because on
Amen.
dialysis, some days it's rough. That, yes, well, talked about my arm. I had to have a surgical procedure on my arm. I have stitches in my arm right now. But if I didn't have faith that I am healed, I probably wouldn't be here on this show. I'd be like, what's the use? What's the point? But my faith keeps me light, and it keeps me encouraged, and it helps me to love and encourage my fellow warriors on this journey.
It's I think that's a great outlook, and I've said this, and I probably won't. This won't be the last time I say this, Cyrelle, but I think your personality is infectious. I love, yeah, absolutely. You're welcome. I think that, that you're great for this community, because you do have such a great smile. You've got great energy, and you have, because of what you do, you're a great inspiration to a lot of warriors. And so, I seriously I have a lot of admiration, and I'm honored, and I'm a little giddy right now because you're on the show.
Thank you. But see, that's the thing. Most people don't know what you do behind the scenes, right? You saw my story and was like, hey, you don't have a page. And
yeah,
you and your brother Jeff, y'all made me a page, and y'all run it, and y'all keep my story out there. And I'm grateful. Y'all help me stay encouraged, because on those days I'd be like, but I realized I have a family of people that's rooting for me and supporting me. So thank you for being a part of my village.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's good to have a base, a support system, and I'm glad that I can do something to at least keep something going on any other sort of bad day that you may have.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you so much.
You're welcome. Well, thank you again for coming on the show. It's been awesome.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I'd love to have you on any week. So you just hit me up, and I'll have you come on. I'll give you the link. Because I'm obviously a little biased because I advocate for you, but I'm going to share that out of this link tonight so that I help you, so that more people see your story. I want you to get as much exposure as possible. Okay.
Right. And thank you for including my son in this. Most people don't realize I am a mom to an amazing little boy, and he's my biggest why, right? On those days when I just, he's the biggest reason, because I want to be here to see my son grow up and be the amazing man that God has for him. And thank you for helping to put a face to my story. And you're awesome. You and your brother. I appreciate y'all so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. And the photos that you have with your son are priceless. That helps me and Jeff when we're trying to promote your page. But yeah, that's a great why. I've got an 8-year-old son. His name's Bronco. After I'm a
Bronco, Denver Bronco.
I know, right? Yeah. But yeah, so I've got a son myself. He's 8 years old, and I've got 2 other daughters from a previous marriage. So, family's important, and I think that your son, along with your faith, it's a great force within you to keep yourself going. I think that's awesome.
Thank you.
Anyway, thank you again, Cyrelle. Thanks for coming on board. Please, anybody who would like to donate to her, get in touch with the information. If you don't have it, please visit her Facebook page that I'm helping promote, and we'll get you that information. And please, it's so important to share this post tonight and to continue to share it, because the share button is more like currency for kidney warriors. It's so much more valuable than any money if it can lead to a kidney donor. So please don't be shy. Click that share button, everybody. All right.
Thank you, Jared.
Thank you. Have a good evening, Cyrelle. Appreciate you again. All right. Bye-bye. All right. So, I believe we've got another kidney warrior that I'd like to introduce. She's from Kansas, Kimberly, And she was introduced to me by a friend, Barb Lundberg. And so I'm pleased to introduce you to Kimberly tonight. She has an amazing story as well. And I think you're going to be moved. I think you're going to be really touched by her story. So I'm excited to have her come on so that she can share her story tonight as well. So please, with no further ado, this is going to be exciting as well. Please hear from Kimberly herself, okay? Come on over, Kimberly. All right, Kimberly, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Well,
Can you hear me?
it's great to have you on the show, Kimberly. Now, Barb Lundberg kind of referred you to Warriors Quest, so it's great. What I'd love to hear is I'd love to have you kind of tell your story. I know a little bit about you already. I know that you're being preemptive and you'd like to find a kidney donor before you're on dialysis. So would you share a little bit about where you're from, how you got to this journey right now?
Yes. Yes. Can you hear me okay? Um, Basically, I found out that I had kidney disease when I got pregnant with my daughter. Um, and she's 12. So I've had kidney disease. Well, I don't know. I mean, at least 13 years that I know of, probably longer than that. I got pregnant, and um, a few months after I had a urine test, and my doctor called and said, and really emotional for me. Um, they called and said, "You have stage 2 kidney disease. You were never supposed to have a child." She's in the other room. She's here. She's fantastic. Um, and so God gave me a child through this to reveal it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be a mother. So I'm just so grateful to God for doing that for me. Now in stage 4, my GFR is 21%. Um, I would really like to stay off of dialysis, and I am actively looking for a living donor.
Can you hear me, Steve? Have I lost you? Hello, Steve? Can you hear me okay, Steve? All right, folks, I'm having a little trouble hearing Kimberly. I can't hear her right now, but I know that she wanted to continue to share her story because of how her faith has played a great role in what's happened so far. So I'm hoping that she can share her story. Hi, Kimberly, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, sorry, I lost you.
Okay, great. Oh, I'm happy that we finally got connected. I'm seriously thrilled to have you on Warriors Quest. This is going to be very exciting because I'm a little familiar already with your story, and I've followed you a little bit, and we've become friends on Facebook. And then just recently, Barb Lundberg, a mutual friend of ours, referred you to Warriors Quest to be on the show.
Hmm.
And now you're trying to be preemptive, much like Barb, and you're trying to find a kidney donor before you go to dialysis. But your story is very unique because of what's happened in your life and how you feel that God has played a role. And I'd like to have you share that a little bit because it honestly is it's a great inspiration for any kidney warrior out there.
Sure. Um, Back in 2006, I got pregnant with my daughter, Alexis. She is almost 12 and a half. Um, I was a
Okay.
few I was a few months pregnant. Um, and I thought I was pregnant with twins because I just wasn't feeling right. I mean, I was pregnant, so I wasn't, I knew something was different. But my doctor called me at work and basically said, "Hey, I need to refer you to a kidney doctor." And I'd never been pregnant before, and I was like, "Okay, that's fine." And
Uh-huh.
I went to the kidney doctor, um, and he said, "You have stage 2 kidney disease." I was probably 3 months pregnant, and he said, "You were never supposed to have a child." So
Wow.
that was all God doing that. Um, she defeated all the odds in my pregnancy. Now, mind you, I had a rough pregnancy, constantly throwing up, just really tough. Had a lot of stress tests. Um, Actually, even when they did the sonogram, I was laying on my back. And I guess I'd been laying on my kidneys for too long. And when I set up from the sonogram, like the whole room went black. And I told them, I was like, something's wrong. And so they
Hmm.
basically gave me water and a rag on my face. Um,
Okay.
my OB said she'd never be over 8 pounds. I'm sorry, 6 pounds. Alexis was eight
Okay.
pounds 5 ounces. So doctors don't always have the say, God does. Um, so she is now
Amen.
12. She's 12 and a half. She does not have kidney disease, but I literally thank God every single day for what he did. I mean, it's a rough way to find out, but if I believe it was God's will that
Hmm.
I didn't find out before my pregnancy because I wouldn't have a child.
Okay, I follow you. So you're strongly of the opinion that because this happened while you were pregnant, that you, if you had found out previously, then you may have had some measures to prevent that, or you would have felt like, that because of what your doctor's kind of, guiding you and telling you what to do, that wouldn't have been the best decision for you. Is that what you're saying?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, he flat out told me, he's like, you should not be pregnant. And I'm like, well,
Uh-huh.
I am. So, you know, my doctor never, he was a Christian. He's retired now. He never talked about abortion because that would not have been an option. Um,
Gotcha.
they
Uh-huh.
basically just covered me the whole time. And they did deliver her 10 days early because my kidneys, it didn't move me from stage 2, but my kidneys were failing with her.
Hmm.
And so they did deliver her 10 days early.
Okay, so about 10 days early, but you're saying she was 8 pounds.
8 pounds,
So
5 ounces.
8 pounds, 5 ounces. So well above 6 pounds.
Oh,
And
yeah.
she, and she's healthy and so far right now has not been diagnosed with kidney disease.
They've tested her twice. She does not have it.
Okay.
Praise God.
And praise God indeed. Yeah. And so this is to, again, that's why when I've heard your story and I was excited to have you share this, is that to me this is instrumental for anybody who's struggling with this disease. Uh, Faith is so important in life in general,
Right.
but when you're struggling with a disease like kidney disease, a person's faith like yours is so important to have, because
Yeah.
you never know how much life literally means until you have just a glimpse about how much time you may not have at all. And
Hmm.
when this faith starts to develop and make you stronger, to me, that base of that faith that keeps you going. And to me, it's such it's so overwhelming to hear your story because of what that has meant to you. Now, you
Hmm.
know, how does that, how is this kind of transferred to your daughter though? But what does that mean to her? What's happened?
I mean, I like literally every day, I'm like, hey, Miracle. Like, she knows that she's a miracle.
Uh-huh.
Does, I don't, I mean, I've told her, I'm like, I was never supposed to have you. You're a miracle. I'm sure she understands. It means more to me because I'm the one that went through it. Um,
Right.
but she knows she's a miracle because I tell her every
Uh-huh.
single day. So,
Okay.
yeah. So I don't know if she understands. I don't even fully understand my kidney disease, but she knows I have it.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I mean, and she's very supportive. So, but we just don't, I don't know if we really talk about the kidney disease part of it. It's more just, hey, you're a miracle and God wanted you to be here.
And and that's a good thing. It's because you and I talked a little bit last night. That sometimes, people that don't have, haven't experienced it, they don't quite understand. And even loved ones that have someone like, like she has you who has it. Sometimes even with a loved one, they may not totally relate or understand.
Mm-hmm.
But what I think, if I've understood what you're saying is, I think she does understand because you tell her frequently that she's a miracle,
Oh, yeah.
and that's that in itself, I think is going to increase her faith, which is never a bad thing, and
Right.
I, as I said before, in general, faith for anybody is a good thing. And you never know later on in her life how her faith, she may have some sort of other trial or tribulation. It may not be kidney disease, but because of what's happened to you and how you've had such a great testimony because she's been a miracle to you, she may use that later on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, totally. I mean, yeah, I mean, she's heard people praying, she's seen people praying for me. I think the hardest part, literally, about this disease is that, like, even when I look in the mirror, I'm like, there's nothing there. Like, you can't tell that I'm sick. And
Uh-huh.
I even hate to put it that way, but it's like, most people, and even had a couple people ask me lately, where they're like, you don't look sick. And I'm like, because you can't see it. I
Right.
mean,
Uh-huh.
today at work, I almost took a break, but I'm like, you know what? I've got to keep going. Like, people do not understand how it makes me feel. Um, Lexi, bless her heart, I usually, on the weekends that I have her, I usually have to take a nap, and I'll be like, I don't even really tell her that. I'll wake up and go, did I just take a nap? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, please understand, Lex, that I have to rest my body because
Okay.
with me working full time, well, actually, I have two jobs and doing all that. There's just times I need rest. I mean, everybody does, but
Sure, but you experience that you feel drained, you feel fatigued. So, for those that that aren't in the community, or those that either don't have the disease or don't have a loved one, uh, can you kind of explain how it makes you feel on a day-to-day basis?
actually, the past few months, quite honestly, have been actually fairly decent, and I praise God for that. I mean, I've been working two jobs because I have a daughter, and luckily, my second job, she gets to go with me, which is
Mm-hmm.
fantastic. I've
That
been
is.
working out. I'm doing all these things, but I also know that there's nights that I'm going to come home and be like, I can't walk tonight. Not walk, but like exercise, because
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm like, I just need to sit down. But otherwise, I'm like, even at 21% GFR, I feel pretty good on it. That's what frustrates me so much with this disease, because you never know day to day how you're going to feel. And
Uh-huh.
honestly, last November when I went on the transplant list, um, I actually knew something was wrong because my body felt really funny. I don't know how to
Okay.
explain that. It just felt funny. And then my KU coordinator called me and said, "You're going on the list." And I'm like, "You know what?" Like, I was really upset because I'm like, "How?
Uh-huh.
Like, what's going on?" And then she said, "You dropped. You went from 21 to 18." And I'm like, "That's so weird because my body almost told me." So, it was a shock that I went on the list, but I'm like, "Huh, like I don't feel that way anymore." But
Okay.
it's almost like I felt my GFR drop. I don't know how else to explain it.
Gotcha.
So when they told me,
But
I'm
you
like, okay, I get it.
you felt it, and your body, and you
Oh,
just
I
kind
knew
of,
something was wrong.
yeah.
Something was wrong. Yeah. Yep.
All right. And so, and it's your GFR right now is right about 20 right now, which is great. But again, that doesn't mean it's, going to be that way, consistently. And, this disease is a silent killer, like we've talked about. So any day, that I either could drop, could increase. Uh, what are some other things you may be doing? What you're saying, you're doing some great things to stay fit, or at least you're trying to. I understand that,
Right.
you may not, there may be bad days and you can't do it every day, but
Hmm.
are you doing some ways to like stick to a renal diet, or what are some ways that you're trying to be preemptive?
So I'm going to be 100% honest here. I was on the kidney diet and I was strict for 6 months.
Okay,
None of my levels moved. None of them. Like
nothing.
nothing moved. And I told my doctor, I said, I'm not doing this anymore. It's not doing anything for me. And she's like, okay. And I'm like, I've done this for 6 months. I've been so strict, yet my GFR is the same. My creatinine increased and my bun
Wow.
level increased. And so I'm like, I'm done. There's only like that's another hard part. Like I see these people at work eating certain things and I'm like the other day they had a potato thing at work and I inside I'm because I can't have potatoes and they're like one of
Yeah.
my
Right.
I love potatoes but I can't have them and I'm like
Uh-huh.
it's so hard because people are like, why can't you eat it? I'm like, because it has an ingredient that I can't have that will hurt my kidneys. So it's
Mm-hmm.
not like I'm eating potatoes and avocados and bananas, the stuff I can't have. It's not like that. I don't do
Right.
that.
Okay.
But
Gotcha.
it was just really frustrating this last time. I went to see my doctor 2 weeks ago,
Uh-huh.
and she said everything was fine because at 21 GFR, you're considered stable, which is so weird to me. But I feel like I'm doing everything I can. And I mean, my faith in God is truly what holds me on. That's it. That's it. I mean, I wake up every day and I'm like, oh, thank you, Jesus, for giving me another day. Seriously, thank you. And I don't know what life's going to hold. Only God does. And so that's why I'm actively looking for a living donor because I am a single mom of a 12-year-old. I want to see her grow up. And I'm very blessed because I work where she goes to school. I get to eat
Mm-hmm.
lunch with her every day. And I'm so blessed with that. But
Wow.
that's why I'm actively looking. And I know people are like, why are you looking so quickly? Well, anything can happen.
Anything.
So,
You're right.
I mean, so that's why I'm actively looking for a living donor.
And that's a great why. Your ask is because of your daughter. Your ask is because, where you're right now, it's not a guarantee that it will stay at that level. And, you know, praise God that you are at around 2021 and right now you're stable. But, you know,
Right.
that the future may be different and your life, should be rich and full with your daughter.
Yeah.
It should be a life where you are going to see her grow up, have a family of her own, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
That should be a life you can see and envision. And that's why I do this. That's why I want this to be promoted and I want this show to just catch on fire, is for kidney warriors like you, for Cyrelle, and for these other kidney warriors that I advocate for on a daily basis, so that we can have hope. Because you know what? Hope is so important. And hope can give you a vision of what your life can be. And that's a wonderful thing when you've got that sort of hope.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And honestly, 12 years ago when I had Alexis, 12 and a half years ago, I did not see what God did for me. Not back then, but over the last few years, God's really like, hey, this is what I did. If God can do that for me, I mean, my God can move mountains. He literally moved a mountain for me to have my daughter. Like, and
Yeah.
there's literally not a day that goes by I don't thank him because he gave me my daughter. And
Yes, absolutely.
he got me through the whole pregnancy. I mean, it's just really, really emotional. He's just a really good God. And I know he has good plans for me. I don't know what they are, but they're good. So that's what I rest in.
Well, I hope and pray sincerely that we can have things go as smoothly as possible for you. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to have you share your information about the the donor type blood, what the donor has for a blood type, and share with us online with this live broadcast your transplant hospital information. Can you tell us a little bit about that, like the what hospital it is, phone number, information like that?
Yep, I went through KU. Um, the number that you can call for the living donor line, I think you have to leave a message, which is totally fine. They'll get back to you, is 913-588-0266. And I am blood type O.
Great. Okay. Blood type O. So it could be O or negative. Doesn't matter with the RH factor. And they can contact, if no one answers, leave a message and
Yep.
they'll promptly get back with them. Okay. Is that right?
Yep.
Great. Well, it's been an honor to have your story heard, to get it told. Again, I'm going to do my best to get this promoted, to share this. Anybody else that's watching the show tonight, please, again, don't be shy. The share button is more valuable than currency. So please click the share button so that we can get her story out there, so that Cyrelle her story is out there, so we can get this amplified. We need to get this firecracker lit, folks, so this person has hope, so that we give this person more hope and a richer, fuller life with their child. So thank you for coming on this live broadcast tonight, Kimberly. Thank you. It's been an honor, honestly. I find it an honor that I can have you on the show and advocate for you in this way. Thank you.
Well, I think, seriously, thank you so much. I mean, I am very honored that I got to share God's story, because that's basically what this is about for me.
Absolutely. Amen to that. Faith